Stop. Breathe. Ask yourself, who are you trying to impress? Because every moment you spend proving yourself to others is a moment stolen from becoming who you're meant to be. We live in a world obsessed with validation. Likes, applause, approval. But chasing approval is a trap. The most successful people didn't prove their worth. They lived their vision until the world couldn't ignore them. Today, I'll show you how to stop proving and start becoming. Stop letting external opinions dictate your direction. Every single day, countless voices try to shape who you are supposed to be. They tell you how you should look, how fast you should move, how loudly you should shout, how much you should achieve by a certain age, how many followers should validate your existence before you're considered worthy. And if you let them, they will carry you away from yourself. You will start to move not toward your dreams, not toward their calling, but toward their approval. You'll shape your life like clay around their opinions. And you'll wake up one day and wonder whose life you're living. You'll have motion, yes, but not direction. You'll be running, but not arriving. You'll be performing, but not becoming. Purpose is internal. Pressure is external. This is the defining difference between a life of meaning and a life of exhaustion. Purpose grows quietly inside you like roots sinking deep into the earth. It does not scream for attention. It does not require applause. It does not demand speed. It only asks for honesty. Pressure, however, comes from outside. It yells. It compares. It tells you you're behind, that you're late, that everyone else is doing better, faster, bigger, louder. It pushes you to sprint on a track you never chose, chasing a finish line that keeps moving. And the tragedy is how easily we confuse the two. We mistake the adrenaline of panic for passion. We mistake the tension of comparison for drive. But they are not the same. Panic burns you out. Purpose builds you up. When you move from purpose, you create from conviction, not fear. Conviction is that quiet fire in your chest that says, this matters to me even if no one else sees it. Fear is the cold whisper that says, I must do this or they will forget me. When you create from fear, everything depends on someone else's reaction. If they approve, you feel alive. If they ignore you, you collapse. Fear ties your worth to their applause. Conviction ties your worth to your values. What's born from fear will always need to be fed to survive. It needs more likes, more validation, more proof. But what's born from conviction has its own heartbeat. It stands on its own. It grows even in silence. People follow clarity, not desperation. Think of the people who inspire you. They are rarely the ones begging to be seen. They are the ones quietly doing what matters to them, day after day, whether anyone claps or not. They aren't chasing attention. They are chasing excellence. They aren't trying to prove anything. They are simply becoming who they are meant to be. And because they walk in clarity, people can trust them. Desperation repels. Clarity attracts. Desperation tries to pull people in with noise. Clarity draws people in with depth. And depth is always more powerful than noise. The world listens when you speak from who you are, not who you're trying to impress. Because when you try to impress, your words are coded in performance. There's a slight tremor of fear behind them, a hidden hope that there'll be enough. But when you speak from who you are, your words are rooted in truth. They come from a place of stillness, not striving. People can feel the difference. Humans are wired to detect authenticity. It cuts through noise like light through fog. But the world will try to convince you that pressure is purpose. It rewards the loud, the fast, the flashy. It tells you to hurry, to compete, to compare. It says if you're not first, you're failing. If you're not visible, you're irrelevant. And so, you sprint, you post, you shout, you rush to be seen. And maybe you are seen, but being seen is not the same as being fulfilled. Being visible is not the same as being valuable. Pressure can make you visible. Only purpose makes you valuable. When you live from pressure, your entire sense of self becomes external. You measure your worth by the reactions of others. Every compliment lifts you. Every criticism crushes you. You become a mirror reflecting what others want to see instead of a flame burning with what you actually are. And the worst part is, you can achieve all the things pressure tells you to chase. The titles, the followers, the applause, and still feel hollow. Because success built on pressure is success that demands more and more just to keep you from feeling empty. It's like trying to fill a leaky bucket. You pour and pour and pour and still feel dry. Purpose fills you from the inside out. It nourishes you while it challenges you. It's not always glamorous. It's often slow. It often goes unseen for long seasons. But it's real, and real sustains. When you build from purpose, you stop chasing quick wins and start building lasting foundations. You stop sprinting to be first and start walking to go far. You stop performing for applause and start creating for impact. Imagine two people building houses. One is racing to impress everyone. They cut corners, rush the work, paint the outside quickly so it looks perfect from a distance. People clap. It looks impressive until the first storm comes and the house crumbles. The other builder works slowly. They dig deep foundations. They measure carefully. They care about what no one can see. No one claps at first. It looks like they're behind. But when the storm comes, their house stands strong, and it stands for generations. This is the difference. Pressure builds quickly, but shallow. Purpose builds slowly, but deep. And what is built deep endures. Living from purpose means learning to be okay with being unseen while you become. It means being willing to walk a quiet path when the noisy paths seem more rewarding. It means saying no to the pressure of instant applause so you can say yes to the power of lasting impact. And this is hard because we are conditioned to crave fast approval. We are taught to measure progress by how many people are watching, rather than how aligned we are becoming. But applause is not progress. Alignment is progress. To find purpose, you must be willing to silence the noise. Step back from the constant comparison. Step away from the endless highlight reels that make you question if you're enough. Give yourself space to remember what lights you up, what breaks your heart, what you would do even if no one ever noticed. That is where purpose lies. It's been there all along, buried under layers of pressure. Purpose is not something you find. It's something you uncover. It's who you were before the world told you who to be. And when you find it, choose it daily. Because the world won't stop pressuring you just because you found your purpose. If anything, the noise will get louder. People will question your path. They'll warn you about risk. They'll tell you to be realistic. But purpose was never meant to be safe. It was meant to be true. And truth often looks risky to those who are still living from pressure. You cannot wait for universal approval to pursue what matters. If you do, you'll wait forever. Purpose requires courage. The courage to move without guarantees, to build without applause, to keep going when no one understands yet. And if you do, something extraordinary happens. Slowly, quietly, you begin to change. You stop hustling for worthiness. You stop trying to prove your value. You stop shrinking yourself to be liked. You stop performing and start becoming. You start measuring success not by how many people see you, but by how deeply you are aligned with what matters. You stop running on adrenaline and start walking with peace. And ironically, this is when people start noticing you, because authenticity is magnetic. In a world full of noise, stillness stands out. In a world full of performance, truth shines. This is how trust is built. People may be impressed by pressure, but they trust purpose. They may admire your hustle, but they are moved by your integrity. They may notice your speed, but they follow your depth. Trust is the foundation of influence, and it can only be built by living from what is real. You don't earn trust by being impressive. You earn it by being consistent, by being true, by being willing to be unseen while you become. And yes, purpose is harder. It asks more of you. It asks you to be patient when pressure tells you to hurry. It asks you to keep going when pressure tells you to quit. It asks you to believe when pressure tells you to doubt. It will test you in ways pressure never could. Pressure gives you quick wins. Purpose gives you long nights, uncertainty, setbacks. But purpose also gives you meaning. And meaning will carry you when motivation dies. Motivation fades when things get hard. Meaning says, this is hard, and it's still worth it. That's what sustains you. That's what builds legacies. Every person you admire started invisible. They weren't chasing followers, they were chasing excellence. They weren't trying to prove they were great. They were trying to be faithful to what mattered to them. And because they stayed faithful, the world eventually called them great. That's the paradox. The people who impact the world most aren't trying to prove anything. They're simply living from purpose. Your job is not to be impressive. Your job is to be faithful. Faithful to the vision, faithful to the process, faithful to the quiet work no one sees. Because what's unseen today becomes undeniable tomorrow. If you build your life on pressure, you will burn out. Pressure will take everything from you and give nothing back. It's a thief dressed as ambition. But purpose will give back even as it costs you. It may drain your energy some days, but it will always refill your soul. And that is what you need if you want to build something that lasts a full soul. Empty people cannot build full legacies. Full souls can. So guard your soul. Protect it from pressure. Redefine success. Stop making success about being seen. Make it about being true. Success is not being known by everyone. It's being known deeply by the right ones. It's not being applauded, it's being aligned. When you live from purpose, you realize success is not something you chase, it's something you become. Not something you achieve, it's something you embody. You start seeing success not as a destination, but as a reflection of who you are becoming. And when you become the kind of person who lives from purpose, success becomes inevitable. Not immediate, but inevitable. So stop letting external opinions dictate your direction. Stop letting noise drown your inner voice. Stop sprinting on someone else's track. Step off their stage. Build your own. Be willing to walk alone for a while. Be willing to be unseen while you grow. Be willing to be misunderstood while you align. Because when you move from purpose, you may start alone, but you will not stay alone. People are drawn to light. And your light will grow, slowly, quietly, powerfully, until one day the same world that doubted you will be inspired by you. Not because you proved them wrong, but because you proved yourself right. And that is the moment you will realize you never needed to prove anything. You only needed to become everything you were meant to be. And you did, because you built from purpose, not pressure. Focus on mastery. While others chase recognition, you chase growth. This simple shift changes everything. Because the world is full of people trying to look impressive, but very few trying to become exceptional. Looking impressive is fast. Becoming exceptional is slow. Looking impressive gets applause today. Becoming exceptional builds legacy tomorrow. And this is the fork in the road you must choose. One path is decorated with approval, attention, likes, and validation. The other path is lonely, quiet, and lined with hours of practice that no one will ever see. One path feeds your ego. The other path feeds your soul. One makes you visible. The other makes you valuable. And only one will last. Every hour refining your skills is silent, unseen, and powerful. You might not get applause for it. No one might notice you at all. While others are posting their highlights, you're sweating in obscurity. While others are collecting likes, You're collecting skills. While they're trying to be known, you're trying to be good. And though the world may not see it now, the gap is growing. Every quiet hour compounds. Every unseen repetition becomes part of you. And one day, the work you've done in private will speak louder than anything you could say in public. Mastery is your loudest microphone. When you are undeniably excellent at what you do, you don't have to shout. You don't have to sell yourself. You don't have to beg to be seen. Excellence introduces you. It walks into the room before you speak. It earns trust before you ask for it. It commands respect before you demand it. People might argue opinions, but they cannot argue excellence. They might doubt your worth, but they cannot deny your work. But this is where most people get lost. Because mastery is not glamorous. Mastery is not fast. Mastery doesn't trend. It doesn't give you instant gratification. It gives you blisters. It gives you late nights. It gives you frustration. It gives you the humbling awareness of how much you still don't know. Mastery strips away the illusion of greatness so you can actually build it. And most people don't want that. They want the image of greatness without the weight of the work. They want to be known without becoming worthy of being known. So they choose the shortcut. They chase the image. And chasing the image feels good at first. It feels safe. It gives you quick dopamine hits of validation. People clap, people comment, people follow. It feels like progress. But it's not. It's performance. And performance fades the moment you stop feeding it. If your value depends on being seen, you will be terrified of being invisible. If your worth depends on applause, silence will crush you. But if your value comes from mastery, invisibility becomes your training ground. Silence becomes your sanctuary. You stop needing to be seen to feel significant. You become rooted, not reactive. You have to understand image is fragile. Craft is unshakable. When trends change, image collapses. When criticism comes, image shatters. But when you've built mastery, when you've poured years into your craft, you stand firm. Because you are not pretending to be good. You are good. You don't crumble under doubt because you know the hours you've put in. You don't flinch when others rise quickly because you know roots matter more than speed. You know that slow is strong and strong is steady and steady is what endures. There is a reason every person who changed the world spent years invisible. They were mastering the craft. Long before anyone cared, they cared. Long before anyone watched, they worked. They were not trying to be famous. They were trying to be faithful. And this is the paradox: the people who become unforgettable are the ones who are willing to be unseen. They weren't chasing image, they were chasing excellence. And because they did, excellence made them unforgettable. If you want to build something that lasts, build skill before spotlight. Because the spotlight can destroy what skill has not yet fortified. The weight of recognition will crush you if you do not have the strength of mastery to carry it. This is why so many people rise fast and fall faster. They get seen before they get strong. They get fame before they get foundation. And when the applause fades, they have nothing left to stand on. They built a brand, not a backbone. Mastery builds your backbone. It gives you depth. It gives you substance. It gives you something no one can take from you. Because the world can ignore you, misunderstand you, reject you, but it cannot erase what you've become. Mastery makes you undeniable. That's why it's your loudest microphone. You don't have to announce excellence. Excellence announces itself. And let's be honest, mastery is hard. It is tedious. It is repetitive. It is boring to the outside world. While others are chasing shiny distractions, you are showing up to the same practice, the same discipline, the same slow grind. It can feel lonely. It can feel like nothing is happening. It can feel like you are being left behind. But you are not behind, you are being built. Greatness does not grow in the spotlight. It grows in the shadows, in the quiet, in the hidden work that looks like nothing but becomes everything. Every master you admire once questioned if it was worth it. Every master you admire once sat alone wondering if anyone would ever care. And they kept going anyway. Not because they were sure of success, but because they were sure of the craft. They believed in the work even when no one else did. They found joy in the doing, not just the outcome. And that is what made them great. Because mastery is built on love of the work, not love of the reward. If you love the reward more than the work, you will quit when the reward is slow. But if you love the work, you will keep going even when the reward is absent. So fall in love with the craft. Fall in love with getting better. Fall in love with learning, with failing, with trying again. Fall in love with the daily discipline that no one applauds. Because that is where greatness is forged. That is where you separate yourself. Not by being louder, but by being better. Not by being seen, but by becoming undeniable. And remember, image is borrowed. Mastery is earned. You can borrow an image in a day. You can copy style, mimic success, fake appearance. But you cannot fake mastery. Mastery is the sum of every quiet hour, every unnoticed repetition, every moment you chose growth over attention. It cannot be rushed. It cannot be faked. And that is why it is rare and why it is powerful. When you build mastery, opportunities start coming to you. Not because you ask, but because you became the kind of person opportunities seek. You don't have to knock down doors. When your work speaks for itself, people will open doors for you. Not because you impressed them, but because you became indispensable. And that is the ultimate paradox. When you stop trying to be seen and start trying to be excellent, you become impossible to ignore. Mastery also gives you peace. When you are chasing image, you are always anxious. Anxious about being forgotten, about staying relevant, about keeping up. But when you are chasing mastery, you are calm. Because your worth is not tied to the pace of the world. Your worth is tied to the depth of your work. You stop comparing. You stop competing. You start becoming. And becoming is always more powerful than competing. Yes, people may rise faster than you. They may get more applause. They may look ahead. Let them. They are running a different race. You are building something they cannot see yet. You are building something slow, something real, something that cannot be taken away. Speed fades. Depth endures. The world remembers the deep, not the fast. So choose the long road. Choose the road where no one claps for a while. Choose the road where progress is invisible, where improvement is microscopic, where the rewards are delayed. Because that road builds masters. And masters change the world. In the end, you must decide what you want more, to be noticed quickly or to be respected deeply. To be a moment or to be a legacy. To be loud for a season or to be lasting for a lifetime. Recognition is fleeting. Mastery is forever. Recognition depends on others. Mastery depends on you. Recognition is rented. Mastery is owned. And when you finally stand on the stage you dreamed of, when the world finally sees you, you will stand there differently. You won't stand there desperate to prove you belong. You will stand there knowing you do. Because you didn't build an image. You built yourself. You didn't chase applause. You chased excellence. You didn't chase the spotlight. You built a light within you so strong it couldn't be hidden. That is the power of mastery. It makes you unshakable. It makes you undeniable. It makes you free. So while others chase recognition, you chase growth. While they rush to be seen, you choose to be real. While they decorate the surface, you strengthen the core. And one day, when the noise fades and trends vanish, you will still be standing. Not because you were the loudest, but because you were the truest. Master the craft, not the image. Because when your work becomes undeniable, success will introduce you louder than any self-promotion ever could. Mastery is your loudest microphone. And when it speaks, the world listens. You don't have to announce your greatness. Results whisper it for you. In a world that rewards noise, where everyone seems to be shouting to be seen, it is tempting to believe that the louder you are, the more valuable you become. We live in a culture that pushes us to announce every step, to prove that we are working, to show that we are worthy. And yet, true greatness has never needed a press release. True greatness is not declared, it is discovered. True greatness does not demand to be noticed. It becomes impossible to ignore. When your work is undeniable, you don't have to beg for attention. Your results speak a language louder than your words ever could. Real success isn't performed. It's proven over time. It is easy to act successful for a moment. Anyone can rent a suit, stage a photo, post a highlight reel, buy followers, manufacture attention. But time is the great revealer. Time has a way of stripping away the performance and showing what is real. What is done for applause fades when the crowd goes home. What is built for impact keeps standing long after the noise stops. This is why consistency matters more than charisma, why patience matters more than promotion, why depth matters more than decoration. Because in the end, the work will tell the truth about the worker. Be consistent. That is the simplest, hardest advice you will ever hear. Consistency is boring. It is repetitive. It is doing the thing again and again when no one seems to notice and no one seems to care. Consistency is getting up early when no one is watching, staying late when no one thanks you, pushing forward when no one applauds. And that is exactly why it is so rare and so powerful. Consistency compounds. Every day you show up becomes a brick in the foundation you are building. And foundations take time. They are slow. They are invisible for a long time. But when the house finally rises, it stands firm because of those invisible days. Be patient. This might be the hardest thing of all in a world that worships speed. We are conditioned to crave instant results. We want to see progress today, rewards now, applause immediately. And when it doesn't come, we question our path. But you cannot rush real success. You cannot microwave mastery. You cannot shortcut character. What is built too quickly crumbles just as quickly. The oak tree does not become mighty in a week. It grows deep roots first, unseen roots, roots that hold it steady when the storm comes. If you are in the season where your results are not visible yet, do not despise that season. You are growing roots. And roots are what will keep you from falling when the wind comes. Let your results echo what words can't. Words are cheap. Anyone can say they are committed. Anyone can say they are grinding. Anyone can say they are serious. But results tell the truth. Results cannot be faked forever. They expose the lazy. They reward the diligent. They shine a light on the ones who stayed faithful when everyone else quit. And when you let your results do the talking, you never have to convince people to believe you. They can see it. They can feel it. They can't deny it. This is why you must stop performing and start building. Performance is about perception. Performance asks, how do I look? Building asks, what am I becoming? Performance wants recognition now. Building wants impact later. And when you choose building over performing, you choose the harder, quieter path. But that path is the one that creates echoes. Applause fades, but impact echoes. The cheers of the crowd will die down. The algorithms will move on. The likes will stop. But the lives you touched, the work you did, the thing you built, that will echo long after you are gone. Think about the people who inspired you most. Chances are, they didn't spend their lives shouting their own greatness. They didn't need to. Their results spoke for them. They built something so meaningful, so true, so real that it spoke across generations. Their impact outlived their lifetime. They weren't chasing applause. They were chasing excellence. And excellence does not need to announce itself. Excellence simply is. There is a temptation to try to prove yourself before your work is ready, to show your results before they are ripe, to tell the world what you are going to do before you've done it. But when you do that, you risk living for the announcement rather than for the accomplishment. You risk being addicted to the dopamine of being seen rather than the discipline of becoming strong. And that is dangerous because it turns you into someone who needs validation to keep going. You don't want to need validation. You want to need purpose. You want to be driven by the work itself, not by the response to it. Because if the response stops, you will still keep going. This is why letting results do the talking is so freeing. It takes you off the stage you never wanted to be on. It removes the pressure to constantly prove yourself. It allows you to focus entirely on the work, to put your head down and go deep, to refine your craft until it becomes undeniable. And when it finally is undeniable, you won't need to convince anyone. You won't have to explain yourself. You won't have to shout. People will see it. They will feel it. They will say, "Where did this person come from?" And the answer will be, you were there all along, working, building, becoming. And maybe that is the real test. Can you keep showing up when no one notices? Can you keep watering the seed before it breaks the soil? Can you keep swinging the hammer before the structure takes shape? Can you trust that the invisible season is not a wasted season, but the most important season? Because it is. The unseen work is the work that shapes you. The hidden work is the work that gives you the character to handle the visible work. Without that season, you would collapse under the weight of success. And when the results finally come, they will come slow at first, then fast. At first, a trickle. Someone notices. Someone asks where you've been hiding. Then more notice. Then it snowballs. And suddenly the world calls you an overnight success. But you will know the truth. There was nothing overnight about it. There were years in the making, years that no one saw. And you will smile because you will know you earned it. You didn't shout for it. You didn't beg for it. You built for it. And because you built for it, you are ready for it. This is why impact lasts and applause does not. Applause is about them. Impact is about what you give them. Applause is about a moment. Impact is about a lifetime. And a lifetime of impact can only come from someone who chose to do the work in private before they were celebrated in public. So be consistent. Be patient. Build the thing no one sees. Master the thing no one applauds. Grow the roots no one photographs. Because one day the results will bloom. And when they do, they will speak louder than any post, any announcement, any attempt to prove yourself. Let your work whisper until it roars. Let your results echo long after the noise dies down. You don't have to announce your greatness. Become great and the world will find out. Stop trying to prove. Start choosing to become. The world doesn't need your performance. It needs your purpose. Focus, build, and let your success speak so loudly you won't have to.